welcome back. Today is the 10th episode of The Preferred View, with the very special guest being the campiest camper in all of Birmingham, from stages to screens and all those in between. Give it up for... Blackjack!
I'm walking on sunshine and heels. How are you?
Walking on sunshine and heels. Doesn't that burn? And wait, where are the heels?
Oh, what? They're next to you. Yeah. Wow. You can't break my soul.
Yes, we are serving the heels. How are you doing? You doing good?
Yes. Walking on sunshine as always.
And the hair is giving sunshine. She's giving.
It is.
You know the what is it called? The Teletubbies, the little sun baby.
Oh my! You know, my parents. The first lie that they ever told me was that I was the baby in the sun, and that's what gave me an ego. You know,
So that's your parents' fault.
It is their fault. Yeah. And then they were shocked when I became a drag queen.
But they made you a star today. So which game do you play? Do you play the it's their fault or thank you?
Well, I was definitely the victim in the situation.
Always
so. Yeah.
That's always smartest, easiest.
Oh, I say consistency is key.
Yeah, exactly. Drag, obviously, some people don't know that.
Right.
But some people know it too well. You're gonna be spilling all of the syrup and spreading nothing but butter.
That's right. Because you can top me with butter because that's spread, baby.
I mean, it's easier.
It is. How did you know that about me?
What is it, Marisol?
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Margarine.
Oh, yeah. For me, that burns. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to a lot of chemicals.
Sensitive Gucci.
I do. But, you know, sensitivity can go both ways.
Sensitive Gucci, sensitive nipples.
Truly.
Yeah. So you're originally from Birmingham?
Yes. Okay. So you were actually in the presence of a celebrity.
Oh, I'm aware.
Well, it's not for what you
10th
think.
episode, we got 10.
I know. You've got someone who's what's it called when the amount that you are worth?
Worthy?
No, you know, like when you look up a celebrity, like what's the thing?
Network?
Yes, network. Okay, back up. Edit that out. So yes, you have someone whose net worth is at least $10 for your 10th episode. And
$10.99.
$10.99.
And that's just what I heard from online.
Well, my Rent Boy's profile,
yes.
It does tend to vary, but
she's still
$10.99 is the minimum wage.
That's all that matters. But you're originally...
Oh, yes, I'm a celebrity. Oh my god, you're throwing me off, Sasha. Okay, yes, so you're in the presence of a celebrity. Mm-hmm. I was Mr. Moody High School 2014.
Wow.
I know. So
not Birmingham, but Moody.
From Moody, Alabama, that's right.
I mean, that's a jump and a skip over.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes. But what's wild to me is that there are so many drag queens that came from St. Clair County. Yeah. Like, it's wild. There are so many that when I was first coming up and I would go to the Quest Club, they were pretty much all from that area. Addison Von Trell, for example, I know she went to my high school. And
I went to the same high school.
I know.
That's draggy.
Right?
Did you all know each other, like in the...
So no, she was actually
different class.
Yeah, it was like, you know, she's a completely different generation from me. Yeah, there were several, many different years in between me and her, unfortunately. And speaking of someone who is significantly older than me, also Mariah Taylor, my drag mom, is from St. Clair County as well. I think she also went to my high school, but she used to be a waitress at Cracker Barrel. And yeah, that was my first introduction to the one and only Mariah Taylor.
If you think about it though, it makes sense because like all the queers from small towns travel to the biggest city, and when Birmingham is the only big city in Alabama.
Yeah, no, you're very, very right. And I think all of us who were desperate for attention and, you know, when we didn't win prom court, we had to go and put on wigs, like any sane person does to solve their problems.
But you had a title, so what was your excuse?
Well, my excuse was that I wasn't elected class president. And listen, it has been, I said 2014, it has been 10 whole years since I graduated. And what did I tell them? In November of 2013 when we were electing our class president? I said, that boy that you're voting for, he is not going to have what it takes to plan an event 10 years from now, so you need to elect me. They didn't. They chose to go with popularity rather than beauty. And I have still gotten no invitation to my 10-year class reunion. And I'm not sure if that's because they don't like me or if that's because he failed and I was right.
I could see him like getting a ditch by like 5 years ago, you know? But also, don't say 10 years, you're gonna get changed.
Oh, no, that's okay. Listen, I am happy to give y'all any of my information. Yeah, just don't ask for my social security number because I already stole mine from someone else.
Flapjack, that makes sense.
Exactly.
The cartoon gift.
Precisely, yes. Yeah, and you know, that's actually my biggest fear with drag.
Yeah.
Is that one day Cartoon Network will send me a cease and desist. Yeah. And be like, girl, you gotta stop.
But not to like jump ahead of it, but it is a question in the lineup, but I do want to go ahead and ask, where did Flapjack come from? Did it come from the TV show?
No, it did not.
Okay. Choices were made on that end.
I know.
But it so well.
So here's what happened with that. So I don't have the best relationship with my family. My biological family. They really hate that I do drag. And so I was actually very inspired when I saw that you had your own mom on your show. That's huge, that's amazing. So growing up, I did not have the best relationship with my family, but we did go on like an annual vacation. And so that would trade off between going to the beach some years and then going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, other times of the year. And when we would go to Gatlinburg, every single morning, we would go to the Log Cabin Pancake House. And right across the street, there was this place called Flapjack's Pancake House.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yes!
about. Oh my god.
And so I used to imagine like, I don't know, I don't really want to be here with my family right now. I wonder what it's like across the street at Flapjack's Pancake House.
I love that.
And then my husband and I, we drove through a few years ago when I was first wanting to start drag, and I was like, Flapjack? How stupid of a drag name would that be? And here we are.
Living through.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Did you go to Dollywood?
I've been to Dollywood like once before, but that was never part of our repertoire. It was like, one thing that my family is very much a bunch of pranksters, and they goof off a lot. So we would always go to like comedy shows. That was more of our gig. Mostly because my grandma, she was like in a wheelchair and we would take her everywhere and we could always just wheel her up for a comedy show.
I love that so much. But I mean, like, that's crazy because the only time I really went to Gatlinburg was for Dollywood, and I saw Flapjacks, and this was after I met you, and I was like, that's crazy. That is so insane.
I get about 3 texts a year with people like sending me a photo of that place, and one person even got me a t-shirt from there.
Wow, it's the popularity.
Right!
The network.
It starts with F and ends with CK, like all good things.
Yeah. At what age did you start making a connection with your queerness?
Okay, so, oh my god, I realized I have not talked about this in a really long time. So, I first realized I was gay when I was in the 5th grade. I used to live in North Alabama, and then about halfway through my elementary school career, we moved to Moody, Alabama. And I just really struggled to make friends because of that move. And there was one boy who was just really kind to me, and like we became good friends. And so I thought like, okay, this is my new friend, we're good. And then all of a sudden, he moved. And I know.
Tragic.
And the thing is, I'm just way more brokenhearted about it than I think like a hetero kid would be, you know? And I definitely felt like this isn't normal for me to be so concerned about this. And also at that time, like people started talking about girls, and that was just never my story. So yeah, 5th grade was for me when I first realized that I was queer.
And it did happen in Alabama.
Yes. I've lived in Alabama my whole life.
Oh, choices. I can't say much because I have also, we don't have to tell the that, but I have also lived in Alabama my whole life, and it's fun.
Well, you look like it.
It's the weight, isn't it? I like biscuits. I can't help it.
No, I just thought it was because your family tree doesn't fork. I mean, mine doesn't either, girl, so it's
I was gonna
okay.
say mine was on my YouTube.
Yeah, oh.
I wasn't gonna go there.
I mean, we're probably related if we go back far enough.
I mean, CK, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I usually stream that in the middle of the night, so it would make sense. But you actually identify as non-binary, correct?
Yes, I do identify as non-binary, and I had the honor of being the first mixed Central Alabama Pride, and that was in 2021.
And you...
No, 2022. Yes.
Date and pronouns in and out of drag?
In drag, I've always wanted to be a drag queen, so I pretty much use she, her, and honestly, my rule is however you are seeing me in that moment, please refer to me as that. So out of drag, I use he, she, and they. And if I happen to be doing king drag, use he, him for me.
That's something I've always known you for being as non-binary and representing the non-binary community in Birmingham, because there's not a lot of them, unfortunately. But I never knew that about you, that you were, it was very in the moment what you represent and what you prefer.
For me, realizing that I was non-binary was this whole separate thing from realizing I was gay.
Yeah.
And it's still something that I have to have that conversation with myself on several times, especially as a drag performer, because it's like, you often receive more praise for being in this form than you're out of drag form.
And it's very hard to deal with mentally.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of, that's what like also pushed me is I felt so comfortable in drag, and I was like, well, I just want to be in drag. And like we had a conversation earlier about wanting to do drag full time. I think that was a lot of connection with me trying to like blame that on wanting to do drag, but it was really just
a gender thing. Yeah.
Drag will do it to you. It'll put you in the gender, and it'll just. So do you have really a connection, like, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but with your drag and gender identity, I know you mentioned that, like, kind of made you think a little bit more about it, and I relate to that a lot. But I mean, like, as today, would you say your drag resembles, like, a non-binary iconery? That was so bad.
I'll take it, though. Icon her, but I hardly know her. Sort of. I would actually say that doing drag has made me appreciate my personal binary a bit more.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm starting to shift away from using the term non-binary to describe myself, because I feel that gender fluid is truly the more accurate term for that. I didn't realize that I was non-binary until I went to college, and I went through a Safe Zone 101 course where we did this thing called Sage the Gender Dragon. You were also a UAB person, right? It wasn't Sage the Gender Dragon. This one's the more famous Sage.
I think it was just me.
Oh, yeah, no, it was just you dressed up as a dragon.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, that's my name on a drag is Sage, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
You never know.
No, I didn't. I just knew you were.
That's so funny because everyone, like, so many.
that girl.
But no, everyone like used to call me like Sage Preferred. I'm like, no, that's my attitude name.
Well, see, I always knew you were Sage, because I remember when I first met you and we were like gonna do Flapjack's Flavor of the Month a long time ago, and then it didn't work out, but that's fine. Like I remember having to find
this at all.
I had to find that character, like to put the fierce brow. Yeah, over.
Fierce brow, yes.
Over the
when I first started doing drag, I used to draw an eyebrow over the thing, and that's how the.
Oh, that seems horribly complicated. Are you one of those people who practice your signature all the time?
I don't understand that.
Oh, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, it takes a special type of someone to put their own name on the wall, which I live for.
Or make, a whole fucking series after my
Right. I mean, hey, I'm also doing the same thing, so two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I was gonna say, were we on a question?
Did I answer the question about how drag and my journey with gender and shit?
You were at UAB.
Yes!
Sage the Dragon.
Sage the Gender Dragon.
Yes.
And basically, there were 4 different spectrums that they had where you would it had your gender. So it would have masculine on one side, feminine on the other, and you would draw a dot in between. So same with sexuality, masculine, feminine, all kinds of things that relate to the LGBTQIA, yada yada. But for when it came to me to figure out my gender and how I express, I just could not draw the dot on 100% masculine. And although I tend to lean that way out of drag, it's not who I am. I do not identify as a man. And in fact, I cringe when people call me a man.
It's disgusting.
Which, yeah, and I know that this is a family show, but I'm also a member of the BDSM community, and so we ain't gonna get too deep, but there's a lot of gender terminology in that,
I have questions, but...
We can get there. I don't mind that at all. But
that's for after hours. That's for the OnlyFans.
Ooh, the OnlyFans.
I scream at you.
No, I'm not effing Jax. Are you kidding me? But you know effing Jax, right? They have a Patreon, which
it was Patreon.
Well, it used to be OnlyFans, but their Patreon's very nice. Oh, that's all. Next question.
I didn't know it was that. What age or year did you officially start dabbling in drag?
Oh, okay. Let's get into more trauma. Yay! So, I started drag on December 26th, 2019, and...
Oh wait, so that's...
the day after Christmas.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. I was gonna say COVID years.
Well, yeah, it was like I started drag and then COVID hit. But basically what happened was in 2018, 2019, I was an AmeriCorps volunteer and I lived in Austin, Texas, and I was teaching little kids how to read. Some of the best years of my life. It was awesome. And I had also, right before I moved to Austin, met my now husband, Danny. And during that time, we were long distance, but once I moved back, it was like, okay, family, it's time for you to meet my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I knew that this is where things would go awry. But basically I was uninvited from family holidays as a result of that. And someone who's really important in my life was like, listen, you have an opportunity in front of you to either be really sad about this or to create something new. Find a new hobby, find a new tradition that you can do during these holidays.
Yeah.
And so I started cross-dressing because that's what you do when you need mental health.
Yeah.
So actually we had gone as Grace and Frankie for Halloween, Danny and I did.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, and that's where we met my now drag mom, Mariah Taylor, and she encouraged me to do the baddest and there happened to be a baddest after Christmas, so all that fall we got together my one number that I needed to do because it felt like I needed to take 3 months to prepare that. And then, yeah, that's where I started. And then the pandemic hit.
The day after Christmas.
The day after Christmas. Makes it really easy to remember.
Yeah, my mine's 420, so it's different.
Oh,
Super different.
that seems very appropriate for you.
What are you trying to say?
Well, I could smell the 420 all the way from down the highway.
What made you want to get into drag? Was it just that? Was it just that, like you mentioned, the wanting something to fill the time, and you had always said you were in the story of passing by and being like, hey, that'd be, what's going on at Flapjacks? Is that really a connection that made you push to want to actually do it the day after Christmas?
Well, the day after, and the date of it was really just because my family and I had that split. But the thing that made me want to get into drag, I actually had several ex-boyfriends who were really into Drag Race. And
Of course,
they would
where it always goes.
right, I know. And I'm a baby of that. You know, I know. But they would frequently show me clips of Snatch Game, and they were like, you could do this.
I
Like,
could so
this is
see
what
you
you got.
like rocking the Snatch Game.
I hope. I would love to have that chance someday.
Who would you play in Snatch Game?
Oh, all of my Snatch Game characters get taken. Oh my god, I'm so mad about this. I wanted to be Jonathan Van Ness, then Denali.
I love that.
I wanted to be, oh, what's her name? Ginger Minge did it.
Timothy?
No, the famous comedian. She's like really old. Phyllis Diller. I wanted to be Phyllis Diller. Then Ginger Minge did it. And then I really wanted to be Amelia Earhart. And Hugh did it. Now, when I was like working on filling out the application, I ultimately did not apply for this most recent season, but I was thinking about it. I would love to be Tim Curry, but like Frankenfurter Tim Curry, because I've gotten to the pleasure of playing him in the Masquerade Ball the last few years, and I'm pretty good at making people laugh when I play him. And then I thought about also being. Did you ever hear like on the radio, Delilah?
No, I don't listen to the radio. Who listens to the radio?
Well, it's not like I listen to the radio now, but growing up, you know.
I know that Hey There Delilah.
Oh no, not that.
New York City.
Not that. That's Train, right?
That's James Blunt, I thought it was.
That's not James Blunt.
I'm pretty sure it's James Blunt.
We have a lead research right here in my hey there, Delilah. I'm pretty sure it's either. Oh, it's the
It's
plain
not-
white tees.
Oh.
The plain white tees.
The thing like
I don't know who the said.
James Blunt.
It always comes back to blunts. You know, I have a gift for you.
You really?
I really do. It's nothing like.
I thought you were just gonna pull it out.
No, I'm not that mean. See, okay, it's a sticker.
It's so cute. That is actually my favorite. Wait, I remember seeing that in the when you thinking.
Of course.
Okay, just stick it right there. I remember seeing it. Actually, we're getting so off track. We'll roll it.
That's okay.
It's like you did the outfit with that, and the way you like put it.
Thank you.
Outfit.
Yeah, that was my flapjack in the box, and
We're gonna.
I have merch if you want to get some flapjack merch, and that's a design, but
Editor Sajay, please zoom in. Oh, our questions. Anyways, I remember first first originally seeing you pop up in the area and being so amused by your take on comedy, because it's Gabby. It's definitely a different take.
Okay.
Campy.
Yes.
What is your? I know you kind of mentioned it with your family. You know, y'all are always going to comedy shows and such, so on and so forth. But where does your love for comedy and silly things come from?
Yes. So I identify as a campy comedy drag queen, and
Campy comedy.
campy comedy.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a big intersectionality for me. And to be honest, I really wanted to do something no one else was doing. And at the time, there was only one drag queen that I knew that was doing like comedic performances, and that wasn't necessarily her primary gig. That was Sharon Cox.
Yes.
It's someone who I've always looked up to. I love what she does. But it was like, for me, I kept trying to be really sexy when I started. And that's just not me. That's just not who I am, in or out of drag. And I've learned that about myself, and I'm okay with that about myself. And I sort of was to the men in the Quest Club parking lot, but not to really anyone else. So one time I twerked during a number that was like a ballad or something, and Sharon was there and she laughed really loud. And after that, Mariah heard her laughing, and they were like, Mariah, your drag child is a comedy queen.
Yeah.
And Mariah then got me interested in the Quarantine Comedy Queen pageant, which was a pageant that the National Miss Comedy Queen held in lieu of the in-person national pageant for 2 years. And I was horrible my first year. I had only been doing drag for like 6 months. I made a dress for it, but it wasn't an evening gown. I didn't even know what an evening gown was. And so, not great, but I fell in love with the different comedic performers that I saw in that. And so from there, I really started to focus on comedy because I realized not many other people were doing it. And in my opinion, I like drag that is more conceptual than anything. So comedy allows you to be more conceptual than other types of drag like.
I agree, and it also lets you push out of the box. You're like you said, it's not common in this area. Like in this area alone, I really had to put it down to it. But when I think of campy comedy queens, I think of you and Gina.
Gina! Oh, I love Gina.
And we love Gina, but Gina, I think, is still in that state of she thinks she's sexy.
Gina, that beautiful tropical fish.
I do love Gina.
No, Gina is actually one of my favorite people because, yes, I agree. Like, she is one of the few people who I feel make that their primary performance type. And I think people don't recognize how difficult it can be to create a comedic number.
It really is.
Yeah, because
like I remember when the time I saw you at Alice, you had done a Girls Wanna Have Fun into and you were like, I created that mix like literally on the way here. And I was like, it was best drag though.
It is. Yeah.
On the fly.
I was like, I'm gonna make something that shades the Sugar Baker Twins.
Yes. For no purposes at all.
The thing is though, I was actually gonna do a song by Craven that night, and Craven then texted me that they couldn't make it. I was like, well, I'm not doing this if you're not here. So I just went ahead and made a mix, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And also that same night, because I wanted to make this a point I did not write this down, but I wanted to make it a point. I've seen you a couple times performing. A lot of it was virtually, because that's how you started, and we'll get into that's how we met virtually. But when I actually saw you in person and you did the Archie mix, you also did another song, and out of nowhere you just did a split. And I literally lost my I was like, because I love all drag. I feel like, not to be that.
Just that shoulders.
That's one thing I hold to myself is, which one's shaved?
This one actually, because that's the one with the mole, so I always remember it.
But it's my favorite type of drag is like the old pageant, like 1-2 step, 1-2 split, cartwheel. Yeah. Because I can never do that, so I want to, that's my favorite. And I love campy drag because that's what I started doing as well. And when I saw you doing your campy shtick, and then out of nowhere I split, I was like,
she can do that too.
She's that type of girl.
Yeah, I do yoga.
I was about to say, has it always been like a flexibility thing? Or?
Actually, yeah. I've kind of
always been flexible.
Well, I can always do. I've never been able to do a side split or a split where my left leg is in the front, but a right split I can do. And I learned that because my family used to go to the Sears Friends and Family Night at the Galleria, I believe. Or no, what's the one that closed down?
There's the Galleria.
Okay, yeah.
The Sears?
Yeah. And so they did like a dance battle for this TV. I kind of consider that my first drag performance because people were like going up whenever I would do something fun like that. And I did a split and I won the TV.
I love that. I genuinely I was so I was like, I never, and not to like put, limitations on you, but I never would have expected that.
Well, truthfully, I admire someone like campy a lot.
Yeah.
Who can just do all of these moves, all of these stunts, but that's pretty much where it stops for me. I'm lucky to have whatever it is that makes that particular part of my body flexible, so I can use it when I know that the audience maybe isn't living for other stuff that I'm doing.
It's a pull out to get money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I pull my hamstring so they'll pull out $1.
Relatable content right now. Yeah.
But because like every time I do it, I now do like a jump split into it, but like it truly just hurts my back. So.
And that's why like you were mentioning having so much respect for him and those people who do this stunts, because it's so wear and tear on your body. Like it is extreme wear and tear. But besides the splits and the gags, you are definitely known as the crown of comedy in my eyes of Birmingham, and your style of comedy is super rare as mentioned, and it makes you truly one of a kind. Immediately after seeing this, when I first saw you online and your virtual presence, I became so interested in everything you were putting out, which includes Flapjack's Flavor of the Month, which was actually my first time introduced to you virtually. We're gonna talk about this really quick because it was a competition. It was a virtual competition during the pandemic, and I remember seeing you like started. It was in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was January 21. I think that was the first show. And so basically the idea behind it was, well, the pandemic has happened. We thought this was going to be a lot shorter than it was, but bars were still closed. We were not having the opportunity to do open stages. And I was frustrated as a new entertainer. Like I remember I took a break April of 2020 and I was like, I'll be back in May. And then the pandemic was just, there was no chance for that. So I was like, well, why don't I just do an online open stage? And I honestly, the biggest thing that I wish I could change about it is that I had the money to pay people to do it. But that's kind of what made it the open stage aspect, right? Like I think it gave entertainers the opportunity to learn what it was like to promote a show, but also to just do a singular number. It just replicated what we experienced at like the baddest.
And this was your like first of your very many shows, correct?
That was the first of shows
part of being in
like that I like produced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you eventually ended up doing brunches and shows and so on and so forth down the line. But I remember seeing your flyer boy, and I love competition. I'm a competitive girly, and I immediately was so interested, especially when I saw Big Hair Don't Care. I was like,
oh yeah. Big Hair Don't Care. That was the one that I like struggled the most with, and I was like, why did I pick a theme that I couldn't do? But that's one of those.
But you're But no, I was in contact with you to do it, and then honestly that was just a very rough time in life, and things did not happen, and then you blocked me on all my socials.
I blocked you? I was pretty mad, TBH. But like,
I mean, that's understandable because now going like further into drag and having my own shows,
yeah, and I'm glad we're bringing this up because I would love to talk about that time that I yelled at you at the Quest Club.
Oh, that's in here.
Okay, great. Because I feel like.
Go ahead and get it out though.
Yeah, I know that we need to talk about that. So I think that was the start of me like holding on to resentment that I didn't need to hold on to, And so I guess like let's put some things into context with what happened for that.
Let's go back to
November.
Sicily, 1982.
It was that long ago. No, but it was actually like November 21.
It was November because it was at the Ultimate Supreme.
Yes, it was at the Ultimate Supreme. My husband was competing, and like I remember I came up and talked to you. I'm a little shocked that I blocked you beforehand, but yeah. Let's see. So basically in that night, I was already stressed because I was helping my partner get ready.
And to put it out there, your partner, Danny,
Danny.
also does drag Bonbon,
Yes.
known as Bonbon.
Yeah, she
And
makes
they were
hair, not this one, but you know, if you ever need a new hat.
This one was stolen
she's
from
the
another.
guy. Yeah, this one was stolen from the wig shop on Greensboro. Paid for. It's relatively cheap though. But anyway, so yes, that night I had been helping him prepare for that because he was wanting to start drag as well. And there was just a series of events that happened that night that had nothing to do with you that made me upset.
Yeah.
And I chose, when things did not go my way at the end of the night, I chose to take it out on someone, which was wrong with me. And I'm really sorry I did that to you.
You're totally fine.
But I know that we've talked about this online and people have not seen it, but I think like that moment with Flapjack's Flavor of the Month, I was a young show director and I held on, I should have been more understanding that things come up and you just can't do it. And I wasn't. And then that night happened and I was really mad and I decided to take that out on you and that was wrong with me. So
we're gonna get into. I accept your apology. I'm one of those people where I always forget because you know. But
wait, forget or forgive?
Forget.
Okay.
But I never forget. No, I'm just kidding. I do. No, that's correct. I always forget. No, I'm just kidding. I legit half the time will forget, but. If I can see that the person like genuinely means it, then I have no issue, you know, resolving the issue. And I could tell you genuinely meant it. And I could also tell you were pissed that night. So, you were very wasted, girl.
Yeah.
But to put in perspective, we're gonna, from my side of the story, we were in the dressing room and someone who shall not be named, who was a show director at that time, made a very strict rule that if you were not an entertainer, you could not be in the dressing room. And at the time, I was dating someone who was autistic and had issues with dealing with sounds and stuff, so they preferred to be with me and they were kicked out because of that. And I jokingly looked at you and was like, oh, I thought no one was supposed to be back here. And then that's when the alcohol kicked in.
Yeah.
And I definitely meant it as a joke, but a lot of the times people don't know me enough to realize that 90% of the time I'm joking. Because, you know, that's just my character.
Yeah, and I didn't. And so, and rather than assuming positive intent, like I do my best to do for a lot of people, I assumed negative intent because of this one stupid thing that I felt since Flapjack's Flavor of the Month. Yeah. So.
I was so excited to see you that night. I was like, I saw you come in the bar and I was like, I've been wanting to meet them forever in person. I was like, I literally told myself, I was like,
oh no, I did.
Unfortunately. But shortly after the situations of, well, before that, after Flapjack's Flavor of the Month, we got distracted by our story, our clickbait story.
Yeah, I know. Use that in the TikTok or whatever.
Yes, this will.
We should do something where it looks like you're like, yeah, it's something like slapping the.
Are you stupid? That's why you came on 9.
Yeah, the 10th episode is where we bring the drama.
Yeah. So shortly after Flapjack Flavor of the Month, you, as mentioned, won Miss 2021 Miss Quarantine Comedy Queen.
Yes.
So did this have a motive or a push for your drag in any way?
Yeah, well, honestly, I am someone who I feel like I'm rarely successful at the first attempt of a competition, but the second attempt is where things really work out for me. So when they decided to do Miss Quarantine Comedy Queen 2021, the one-time pageant that happened twice, I was really, really excited, and I was like, I'm just gonna take all the feedback that they gave me and put it all into this one basket. And yeah, I was able to win that. And ever since then, I really wanted to do an in-person pageant, especially with the Comedy Queen system.
Yeah.
And so for me, the first of that was Mixed Central Alabama Pride, but then following that, I went for the national title of Miss Comedy Queen. And I won Miss Last Chance, which was a prelim for that, but then I got a lovely 7th alternate at National Miss Comedy Queen.
I mean, that's not, you still placed. Well.
I mean, they didn't call my name, but I did make the top 10, which is nice. You know, that's not an easy thing to do for your first national pageant. So I'll give it something.
Is Miss Quarantine still something like you hold to your drag today, like in your career?
Sort of. Mostly in that it was where I started, and I think that like quarantine entertainers, like queens who started the pandemic, I think we're a different breed than the ones that have started before or after. Because I think that we learned how to navigate performances differently.
Exactly.
I'm constantly thinking like, how can I do something every 15 to 30 seconds to keep people engaged in what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And there are lots of entertainers who don't think about how to be engaging at all during their performance. Yeah. So I think that is like what makes us different. Us. Did you start in quarantine?
No, I actually didn't.
When did you start?
So that means, I just realized that means I've technically been doing drag longer than you.
Wow.
I've been doing drag for 6 years, coming up in April. We'll go 20.
Just keep practicing, baby.
Just a little over a year of winning the title of Miss Quarantine Comedy Queen. You were actually announced to be on the 4th season of Camp Kiki.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get into it really quick because I remember you have me blocked, so you probably don't know this. But I remember when you were announced, I posted everywhere and I was like, finally, Birmingham, from Birmingham, like claims Birmingham is now being represented everywhere. And then you gave me that dirty look and I talked so much about you being on that show.
I can't believe that I blocked you.
I did, yeah. This is the moment where I tell the world that Flapjack is a horrible person.
You know what, and I've learned to love that about myself, and I accept that about myself.
And it got you nowhere.
It got me on season 4 of Camp Kiki. What about you?
9th place.
Okay, but originally I was 8th place. Originally.
How was your experience on Camp Kiki as a campy camper?
Yes. Okay. So with Camp Kiki, yes, I got to be on season 4. So I had only been doing drag for about a year when I got on it.
I was going to say, because that's something that already stood out to me is how, well, when I had first saw you to win your promo, so much growth.
Right. I feel like I was a completely different entertainer by the time the show came out versus when we filmed it. I started in December of 2019, and I found out I was cast like summer of 2021. So it was like about a year and a half. And then I had not really sewn before that, except for my one gown for Quarantine Comedy Queen. And so I had to like learn really fast to get on Camp Kiki. I was a little surprised that they cast me as quickly as they did, but I was really grateful for that opportunity because it opened a lot of doors for me. I don't think people prior to that viewed me as someone that it really mattered in the Birmingham scene, and that bothered me a lot because I felt that I was doing drag with a fresh perspective a lot of people weren't doing. But yes, then I got on, and I met people who really changed my life. People like Clinica de Precious, who, spoiler alert, won my season.
I love them.
Clinica is magnificent, and they're as kind as they are talented, and I love them for that.
Would you ever go back for an All-Stars Camp?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think that there's any chance in hell that they will ask me to come back because on the show, I do not think I was an all-star. And I appreciate what you said about liking my looks. I did not like my looks.
I knew genuinely, well, it was a leech, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
my favorite. And I feel like
that's what got me a little, okay.
I feel like I've never seen a darker side of like your drag, and that to me was so darky and quirky, and I loved it. It was my favorite.
Yeah. I like that one too.
Your announcement was it, like I love the little like campers, like.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was super cute. Pants were a choice. Because I mean, you've taken something that I know I've given you a lot of credit this episode. It's really just because you're my guest. But you've taken you've taken that platform and like grown with it, which I've always admired about you. We were talking earlier about hating, well, maybe we shouldn't out ourselves like that, not being a huge fan of doing social media charity work for drag. But one thing I genuinely love is like the organization and the planning and the behind the scenes of it and the platform of social media. And I feel like you've used that the best. With doing so many things, you eventually brought viewing parties to places that have never seen that type of campy drag before, and even started a podcast with another non-binary entertainer, Fawn, who I love and adore in the area.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I would love to talk about flapping and fawning. So that's available anywhere you can find your podcasts, except for Pandora. I wanted to make that podcast in order to talk about Camp Wanakiki and have a place for like fans that make it from the show to have a community and talk in one place. And shortly after I filmed Camp Wanakiki, I got to be in my first play at Birmingham Festival Theater, the 8 Reindeer Monologues, and Fawn happened to be in that show too. So we would have all these conversations, and I was really impressed with how much they knew about drag arenas that I didn't know anything about because I was so new. And I always enjoyed the conversations we had as a result of that. So I was like, we're both non-binary, and we both do this kind of against the norm drag. Why don't we like combine our joint sleigh and make a podcast? So
I love that. And as mentioned, I literally have in here to make sure to follow Flapping and Fawn on anywhere that you can get podcasts.
Please.
Apple Music, Spotify, not Pandora.
Not Pandora, but pretty much anywhere else. We're on YouTube now.
I was going to say y'all just started the YouTube, doing the YouTube, what would you call them, like live viewing? Not even live.
So, okay, something I learned about YouTube that's really weird, and I don't know, you may want to cut this out, but we'll upload our entire catalog there. But for now, we're just putting video episodes, and anytime we do like a fun episode, like we took bets on Dragula Titans and Dragula Season 5, and so Fawn just had to get a tattoo that I chose for them, and so that's now up there. But also our experience opening for Chapel Roan together, that's also now up on our YouTube page.
I love that. And I do want to make something clear, because me and Amber did not steal the idea to get a podcast from you and Flap. Y'all stole
from who?
No, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, let it be. Drag entertainers can do multiple things. It doesn't make us all the same. I've been listening to y'all's podcast forever now, and one thing that I've always enjoyed is
I can't block you on there, so
you can. I
can't
block you. But on a serious note, this is gonna sound too shady, but whenever it came to me and Amber starting a podcast, I had literally zero idea of y'all's podcast in our head. And if you put them side by side, they're nowhere near the same. And ours, like you were saying with Camp Wanakiki, ours was we wanted to talk about Drag Race, but I didn't want to make that my constant YouTube thing, so we did the podcast. One thing that I love about your podcast is that you always tend to mention local Birmingham talent, which needs to be done. That was my whole point of creating the YouTube, is to share Birmingham talent, because I feel like Alabama is one of the lesser known for its drag. But with that, you have a few babies of your own in the Birmingham scene, don't you?
Yes!
So with that, who the is Green and Whoa Wild?
So I was peer pressured into taking on 2 children.
Peer pressured? With that guy?
No. Yeah, with a guy. No. So Wamona J. Wiles, or also known as Wowo Wiles, she is my first kiddo. I saw her for the first time at DIY Drag Show, and she was doing this very conceptual cloud number.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the burger number.
No, that came later.
I live in love with the burger number.
It's fierce. I love the burger too. I love a lot of what she does, especially when she brings out these massive concepts and brings them to life. I don't think anyone's doing that. I've done that occasionally, but to make that your kind of niche is really cool to me. So when I saw her with the cloud look, I chased after her in the parking lot when I saw her leaving. It was we need to be friends, and that's how it happened. So that was Wamona, and then Wamona helped me a ton in my preparation for National Miss Comedy Queen. She's a really fast seamstress, and I can sew, but she really knows her way around a sewing machine. So she came with me on that trip, along with Green, who was in my final night talent, where I taught them how, this is a family show, but I gave them a very educational therapy lesson.
Just put the clip
on
here.
stage. But from that, Green actually asked me to be her drag mom. And at the time, I was trying to get her to become close with another friend of mine so that they could be their drag parents. But Green asked me, so I was like, yes! Because I was, Green and I also really vibe very well. But we went to National Miss Comedy Queen, and Green was in my talent, and Wamona was also there with me. And the last night, there was just such a huge relief because I had just finished my my first national pageant, right? And I remember I was very drunk because I had not been drinking at all because I was in the preparation for it. And they were taking care of me, Green and Wowo, while I was puking my guts out over it. And Green was like, Flap, you've actually done a lot for me. Like, would you be my drag mom? And I think I cried, from what I remember, because I was just very honored.
I remember.
Yeah, from what I remember. it was either, I remember they wiped something off my face, it might have been puke. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I feel that I'm someone who, if I have an issue with you, you don't have to worry about me not telling you. You
just
know?
Block me.
Yeah. I will let you know eventually.
Yeah. And you did.
I did.
You definitely
I let her know.
You looked at me and you said, this is why no one likes you and no one books you.
Well.
And I said, this is why you came on a YouTube series.
It wasn't a YouTube series.
Yeah.
It was on Now TV, a subscription service.
It was. We were just, you know.
I know.
But
But the thing with Green was there had been another situation with, people I probably should not mention, and I gave them a call and was like, what is going on here? And was able to remedy that a little bit. So I think that played a role into it. They just knew that I was someone who was going to advocate for them. So yeah, I'm not scared to like talk to folks. And now, especially since you and I have had that incident, and I have to say, I think that you and I are that conflict with you was the only time that I've ever truly just like blown up at someone, you know? Green is my child, and I love both Pomona and Green, and I'm very proud of Pomona. She's also in her reign as Central Alabama Pride newcomer, and Green just completed their first national pageant by going to Comedy Queen.
I was going to mention, Green actually went to second alternate, first alternate at Miss Magic City Comedy Queen, and then later went on to National Miss Comedy Queen, which they did good in. And going back to it, they went to Comedy Queen, which is a system, and something that you were actually a title holder of. So how was your recent reign of Miss Last Chance Comedy Queen?
Well, Miss Last Chance Comedy Queen, I usually rate how well I have reigned by if there's more contestants that compete in the year following mine, because my goal is to expand the system and grow that every time I'm hold that title. And they didn't have it this year, so I am still the reigning Miss Last Chance Comedy Queen, but I only got to qualify for 2023. So we'll see. Hopefully one day I will get to pass off that crown, but I do plan to go back to hopefully compete for National Miss Comedy Queen at some point in the future.
With a few titles under your belt, I guess that makes you a camp pageant queen, right?
A pageant? Oh, campy pageant queen? Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love it. Are there any other pageants you see in your future?
Well, Comedy Queen is my big goal. So I look at all of the National Miss Comedy Queens. They're all people I really admire. And I just really want to have my face among those legendary comedy queens someday. So not until I have Comedy Queen.
Gotcha.
And so maybe like a local pageant or a pride pageant, but comedy's where I'm focusing.
What about Flapjack as a whole? Like, where do we see the flaps from the jacks being prepared in a different state, maybe?
Well, you can find Flapjack as a whole, usually behind the dumpster, whatever gig I am performing at. No, I get to perform out of state fairly regularly. I'm really blessed with that because of Camp Wanakiki. I recently was just up with Opal Essence in Albany, New York. I think on the episode with Cam, y'all mentioned that we got to go to Ohio together. That was because I was working with Deja D Delatero, who was a finalist on my season of camp. So my season, I feel like we all do a really great job of taking care of one another. I've tried to book them as much as I can in Birmingham, and we all trade off on that, so it's really nice.
Do you see yourself like moving to a different state for permanency?
Honestly, no.
I think I'm gonna be an Alabama girl.
I love Birmingham, and I know I'm kind of rare in that. I think a lot of people have this mentality that you can't make a name for yourself in Birmingham, and I don't think that's true. But I also recognize that I have a lot of privilege in my race, my gender identity, and in the socioeconomic status that I come from. And so my goal is to stay in Birmingham, but uplift others with that. And hopefully, before the end of the summer, you will understand a little bit more of what I mean by that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
I'll tell you off camera.
I was about to say when the camera's cut. But with the future in your eyes and so many of your fans, we have some questions from fans.
Oh boy, it's Dead and Dumb.
So, well, before we get into Dead and Dumb, which is the new name, we're gonna do a little a little portion that we call Q and Slay.
Oh, Q and Slay!
Which is just questions from fans that you know around. So
Hi,
our first question comes from Amber Valentine.
Oh boy.
Ambrosia Valentine. How does it feel to be seen by the legendary Alexander Shannara?
Alexander Shannara. That was gay rights.
Gay rights.
And people were killed. So if you don't know, I have this video that went like kind of locally viral where I did a number as Alexander Shannara, the Billboard, to Call Me by Blondie.
Yes, and I already love that song so much. So. Next question from the one, the only Deja Amore.
Oh, hi, Deja.
Yeah, we love Deja. I think you actually got to work with them recently at Nick, I think. No.
I saw her at the Nick. They, her, they. Deja, I saw Deja at the Nick. And I feel like I have worked with Deja before. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah.
They said, how many years have you been doing drag exactly?
Exactly. Okay. I think we're technically at like 4.5.
4.5.
Right now, because December 2019, it is now April. So in 2 months, it will be 4.5.
Wow. That's crazy. You feel old yet?
Not yet. Not when there's still some dinosaurs on cast at bars in town.
And from Gina, what keeps you striving for success, and how do you keep such a creative mindset at all times?
What keeps me striving for success? Honestly, I think what makes me strive for the success that I do is that I did not get a lot of validation from my family for my queerness and for drag. Yeah. And so, honestly, if RuPaul herself was to crown me America's Next Drag Superstar and say, you are even greater than I am, I would still feel insecure. So I think that a lot of it comes from my own insecurities, and that's why I strive for success. But the things and truly, the one time that I've had a good response from my family about the drag I've done was because I did something that was so funny that they even laughed at it.
They were forced to laugh.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, we're getting some validation here. So honestly, I just look for the more, I see how much can I push a boundary in a way where everyone will understand the story that I'm telling. So that's what my mentality is.
And drag's meant to be push boundaries.
Exactly.
But now we're gonna make this segment dumb.
Dead and quick. Or dumb and quick.
You was just dead. You want me dead, girl.
No, not you.
Oh. Howdy. So you'll have 6 questions with 9 seconds each to answer them. It's very good. Yeah. And you'll actually be timed, so if you don't answer the question in enough time, then you'll have to an embarrassing story.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready, baby.
Question number 1, pancakes or waffles?
You did not mention my sister Pancake. I hate that. Clearly waffle is my choice. We don't talk about pancakes here.
But isn't flapjack a pancake?
No. They are extraordinarily different.
Oh, that's good. I didn't mean to bring up childhood trauma. Question number 2, you were close on that one. Favorite campy camper from Camp Wanakiki?
Coleslaw. Coleslaw down.
Yeah.
Mine's a curtail.
And also,
the makeup, okay, I love coleslaw. We had to do the same makeup every day for the daily camp activities, right?
That's so much.
Well, she hated it too because she always does something very different. Great. I do the exact same thing every time, so I loved it. But she would add moles to her face, and progressively through the show, she just add more moles. So, yeah, you can tell how late in the filming time it was if she had more moles.
I love
coleslaw.
Question number 3, Dragula or Drag Race?
Dragula. I think there's just more care from the show directors in it.
Yeah.
I think I identify more with the drag that's on Drag Race, but I appreciate how Dragula emphasizes that drag is for everyone.
Yeah. Question number 4, this one's a shady one. Upside Down Plaza or Quest?
Well, I would say Quest. I appreciate a gay bar any day, but they put their money where their mouth is in the fact that drag is for everyone, particularly alternative drag.
Question number 5, pineapple on pizza?
Yes.
I agree, 1000%. Question number 6, final question, Dolly Parton or Shania Twain?
Oh, Dolly Parton.
1,000.
Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to pick Shania Twain, I was going to be very concerned. And lastly, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at FLAPJACQUELINE on any platform. I hope you called it. Once again, that was Flat J Quellen on any social media platform. Please follow me on Instagram, particularly. That's where I'm most active. I'm trying to get to 1 million followers. So please follow me.
And you can also, something I found out yesterday, or the other day, is you can go onto your Linktree and see any upcoming shows and gigs.
Yes!
When I saw that you had something on, what's it, the 6th, I was like, oh. And then it
Private booking.
Screenshotted that real quick. But you can follow me on all my socials at The Only Preferred. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for a brand new video every single Sunday. Thank you so much, Portia.
Sunday. Happy Sunday. Tell Jesus that he better still love you. And remember, Jesus is doing more drag than I did because he's wearing nails.
You know, when you asked for nail glue, I thought that's what you needed.
Nope, I needed it for my earrings.
But thank you so much for being here, Flapjack. It's been in the making for quite some time. I did your earring fell off.
No, I'm more talented than that. Are you kidding me? No, and thank you for having me, Sanjay. I'm glad that we got to like
Squash our beef.
Squash our beef. I mean, I felt it was kind of squashed before, but also like for the public to know our beef is squashed
at all. But you know, and I don't even eat beef.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
A no-eat girl.
Yeah. Stay clear, stay preferred, and stay deep fried butter! Yeah,
You better
it's like
top her with butter because she's spread.